What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Joe here, getting into some Car Seat Headrest today, the new record. This is their 13th studio album, which I was kind of surprised to learn. I had quite a few back before I knew who they were. But yeah, if you don't know Car Seat Headrest, big, one of like the kind of shining lights of indie rock in the 2010s. Very popular band, very critically loved band. They put out a record in 2020 that I really don't remember very much. And even looking at the cover, I was like, I kind of remember that. That kind of looks familiar. But man, that kind of went by without too much fanfare. This one, I guess, being marked or called a return to form. It's long. It's a concept album, hour and 10 minutes long. It's called The Scholars. Ambitious, kind of a rock opera type of thing. And I think that you are not a fan of this band in the past, at least.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's go let's delve into my history with Car Seat Headrest. I don't really like them. I didn't really see their appeal. I got into music again in my life like around 2014. So I had listened to like every single Car Seat Headrest album following like their before 2015 they were basically just Will Toledo doing solo records. 2015 Teens of Style was their first like as a full band. It was a remakes of like songs from his early period. And since 2015 I'd heard all the Car Seat Headrest albums. I didn't like them. I couldn't really remember what they sounded like. I went back and looked at my scores. But Teens of Denial, 2.5 stars. Twin Fantasy, 2.5 stars. I listened to Making a Door Less Open, like you, had no recollection of it. Probably Cramser was like, oh, the Car Seat Headrest, I love them. You should listen to the new album. But I 3 stars for that one. That one has a 2.8 rating on Rate Your Music. So apparently nobody liked the direction they went in on that one. It was kind of indie-tronica. So, that was before even we really started talking about like new music that much on this channel and got into like RYM and stuff like that. So I really didn't know how beloved they were. It's just not my style. I don't like lo-fi. I don't like slacker rock. I don't like emo, lyrics very much. I don't like lead singers who can't sing. So Car Seat Headrest just did nothing for me. I actually kind of like Teens of Style. That was my highest rated one in the past, 3.5 stars. But I was not a big fan of Teens of Denial, Twin Fantasy. So I just always assumed I didn't like them. And I was a little scared of this one. I had heard Get This Main, and I did like it. So I thought maybe, a new era for the band, more of a collaboration between the band members, less Will Toledo. And I thought it had a good sound. It wasn't like I remembered it, so that was a plus. And that kind of leads us to this new album, which I like. I think it's a pretty good album. I think it's interesting. I think it's different from their old stuff in basically every way. You can see some of like the old remnants of Will Toledo's lyrical style and vocal style. But to me, I just like it so much more. In the past, it kind of the band reminded me of like an atonal version of the Shins with like brand new lyrics, like just all the things I don't really like in music. The songs were way too long, and Will Toledo was a guy who just like if he stopped singing for 5 seconds, he would die. Like other than long intros and outros, just a dude who just would not shut up. And I think he's just more trusting in his band members to provide interesting textures and details. I think the sound's a lot fuller and richer. Reminds me a little bit of Arcade Fire at times, especially on the opener. And I mean, to me, it's just a more interesting sound. It's richer, it's lusher. I think Will Toledo is a better singer now. than he ever was in the past. I think the production is really strong, and just pretty much everything about this album is music and sounds and things that I like better than that really stripped down lo-fi indie sound that they were known for and beloved for, which basically caused me to discount the entirety of the 2010s as like a rock, basically a wasteland for me because I wasn't into the indie scene. This, I don't know what like fans of the band are going to think of this. I don't know if they'll like the direction and like the richer stuff, but to me, it's just, it's more mainstream and it's more palatable and all that stuff. And to me, that just makes for a better record.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you said, and then some for me. As far as like my feelings on their past records, starting with Teens of Style, I there was a couple songs on that that I liked, um, but it was a little too rough around the edges, especially with his vocals. And I think every record from there on, his vocals got a little stronger. And I liked the subsequent records. I like Teens of Denial. I like Twin Fantasy, but I didn't quite like them to the degree of the hype they were getting. I thought they were good indie rock records, but not necessarily like top of the pack, like the best band around type of stuff. So I've got both of those at 3.5 stars. Teens of Denial might be bordering on like a 4. But yeah, this new one I think is head and shoulders above everything else they've ever done. Yeah, the vocals getting way stronger, the vocal production getting better, which kind of just like lets them shine a little bit more. The overall sound of the band is really strong and muscular. They're taking on some like Heartland rock sounds on a lot of this record, but it's not the same Heartland rock sound that everyone is doing, copying the War on Drugs, which is getting a little tired to me. There's a lot more muscle to this. I hear like shades of Gaslight Anthem and the Hold Steady, and I don't know, it's just got a really strong, like muscular rock sound. There's a ton of lore to this record. There's all kinds of stuff you can read about it and the different characters in this rock opera. And I did dig into it a little, and it kind of just like went over my head a bit. So more time spent with it will maybe help some of those things sink in. But I think it's really interesting. The melodies are strong. You've got like 4 songs that are over 8 minutes. The longest one's 18. So they're really stretching out. And I don't think none of it feels like long or like gets boring. I think they keep it really interesting the whole time. There's some shorter tunes, like 3.5, 4 or 5 minute songs that balance things out a little. I don't know. It's just everything on it worked for me. So. Uh, I don't know if you want to reveal scores yet, but I'm at a 4.5 stars for
Whoa,
this.
wow. 4.5. Yeah, I mean, I echo for sure the muscular Heartland rock. I definitely heard Gaslight Anthem. And I didn't know if it was just the vocals, but I think you're right. I think it's the whole like spirit of the thing. They call it a rock opera. So obviously you think of like The Who, and I can hear like a little, not like exact like copy of like Quadrophenia, but like kind of the spirit of it. And maybe it's the more muscular nature of the music kind of reminds me of that like maximum R&B thing that The Who were all about in their beginning stages. The length of the songs, I also agree. Like, there's some really long stuff, and it's hard to do multiple 10 plus minute songs, especially all in the row. But when I was listening to the first part or for the first time, I don't think I realized they were 3 songs that long. Like, it kind of was split up enough, and there was different parts, and there was enough energy and movement that I think I just assumed it was multiple songs. So I think that's a plus. Like it doesn't plod. There's not like a 10-minute sort of noodly part where nothing happens. I think there's momentum through all the stuff. They throw in some horns on some songs and some cool sonic tapestries, especially on Gethsemane. And yeah, he Toledo lets the guitarist and the drummer and the bass player sing on parts. And I don't think they have great voices or anything, but I think it adds to the variety present, which I think is good. And yeah, I think it's just, there's enough variety. There's enough like added elements like the horns and the Wurlitzer and synths and keys and stuff like that. But it just has a very good energy to it. Um, and it's just everything about it. I was pretty impressed with it. I'll go 4 stars. I'm not going to go 4.5. I'm not going to go crazy, but I think it's pretty easily my favorite car seat headrest, and yeah, not even in close. I think the other ones are. I went back and listened to them again just to make sure I hadn't softened or anything, and I might get to like 3 stars, I think, on some of them now. I don't hate them quite as much as I used to, but it's still not my scene, not my jam. This is a lot closer to the things I like, and yeah, I have no problem going 4 stars on it.
Yeah, one of my favorite of the year is currently sitting at number 5. So
It could sneak into my top 25 on the year for sure. I mean, what a year for me. I got this. I got friggin' Black Country New Road possibly making my top 20. I don't know what's happening.
bands are just aiming to please Joe this year.
Yes. Finally. They're going mainstream and pissing off their fans. Just what I wanted to see.
All right. Well, if you've heard this record, let us know what you think of it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We will now be reviewing at least one new release every week, at least for the foreseeable future. And you can vote on what that record will be on our post tab. So head over there. There'll be 4 records to choose from for next week. And check the video description for links to all of our social media stuff, our Patreon, our website for our new record label. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.